Hey guys, it's me, your boy Wish4, and today we're gonna be watching an animated story from My Story Animated. Their channel is gonna be linked down below. Practically, this girl's dad's wife thinks that she's a housekeeper. Not going into more details, but please like and subscribe for more videos in the future. Yeah, let's get it.
You found out your dad had a secret wife. Well, I thought it was the worst thing that could ever happen. But I thought wrong. Wait until I reveal how things escalated to a complete disaster that no one expected. I'm Ivy, and it all started one day at school. I was sitting eating lunch alone because my friend Sarah had been avoiding me all week. Every time I looked over at her, she ignored me. Eventually, I couldn't take it anymore. I walked over to her table and said, "Sarah, seriously, what did I do wrong?" Her face turned bright red, and she said she had to go. But I refused to leave her alone until she told me. Well, soon enough, I regretted ever asking, because what she said freaked me out. You see, Sarah lives just outside the town near a forest. There are only 2 houses out there, and it's super creepy. Anyway, she told me that she'd seen my dad's car parked outside her neighbor's house.
Ooh, nah. This girl was like, yo, I'll take you to my house and you can go confront your dad, but don't put me in this. Don't put me in this. If I dare hear my name in this, I'ma break up with you friendly. When am I gonna be friends? You hear that? Wow.
Seen my dad's car parked outside her neighbor's house for the past week. I was shocked. I told her she was lying because my dad was on a business trip in Paris. And he'd even sent me selfies from the Eiffel Tower in the background. But she said it was definitely him. And when I called her a liar, she started crying. That's when I knew she was being serious. And that the only liar around here was my dad. This whole week, I'd been staying at my grandma's. And yet my dad had been in town the whole time? I couldn't believe it. Soon, Sarah stopped crying. And I told her it was okay. I wasn't mad at her. I asked her if I could come over to her place after school to confront my dad. She said that was fine, as long as I didn't get her involved. She was such a goody two-shoes. So after school, Sarah and I took the bus back to her place. But my dad's car was... Then Sarah took me into her bedroom and pointed to the back of the house. Oh my God, his car was there. I could feel the anger rising up inside me, and I ran out of Sarah's house towards the neighbors. Sarah tried to get me to stop, but I was very angry. I marched right up to the front door of the house and was about to knock when I noticed a big photo through the glass. It was my dad and some woman, and they were wearing wedding clothes. I almost screamed. Was this some kind of joke? I needed to think. I had to get out of there. What else was my dad hiding from me? I started walking away quickly, but then I tripped on a rock and almost fell. Through the window, I heard a woman's voice saying, "What was that?" I just panicked and started running. I jumped behind a bush and saw my dad open the door and glance outside. "Nothing, honey," he said. "It must have been a bird." I had to literally grip onto the tree to stop myself from running at my dad and shouting. I waited until he'd gone back inside and ran back to my friend's place. I was crying and shaking as I texted my dad saying, "So, how's Paris? When are you back, Dad?" He replied right away, "Not for a month, sweetie, but the time will fly by. Be good for your grandma now." My dad was such a liar. He promised me that after Mom was gone, it would just be me and him forever, and that he would never remarry. Well, now I was going to make him pay. I went home that night and decided to confront him the following day. I was going to embarrass him so much. But when I got to Sarah's house, his car was nowhere to be seen. Where had he gone? I tried to call him, but it went
Like, yo, do you think he's gonna stay there the whole time? He has to go to work. How do you think he provides for you? It's like, yo, Dad's not here. Oh no, I'm so worried. You are about to embarrass him somehow. I don't know how you just said you were gonna embarrass him. But you worried? Now you worried? You just like, his car's not here. So, let's just leave it there. Bro, he has a job, I'm sure. People just don't think these days.
New wife had done something to him. She did look like the gold digger type. Sarah could see I was worried, so she asked her mom if she'd seen a man next door recently. And Sarah's mom just giggled and said, "Oh, you know what Janelle is like. There's always some man on the go, but it looks like she's finally settled down and gotten married." I saw him leave with a suitcase early this morning, but didn't get a good look at him. He looked handsome, though. Sure enough.
Yeah, don't just go to Adobe like, Yo, you know me? I'm your husband's daughter. I'm like 16, 15, 14. And I'm just here to say hi. Wasn't I invited to the wedding, you know? Just tell me why. Bro, she does not know about you. Easy fact. She does not know about you. Easy facts.
And gotten married. I saw him leave with a suitcase early this morning, but didn't get a good look at him. He looked handsome, though. Sure enough, later that night, I got a phone call from Dad, and he was actually in Paris. For real. He even put me on video and showed me the view from his hotel room. I was too shocked to actually say anything, though, and just told him I wasn't feeling well and hung up. All I could think about was how I needed to find out who this monster of a woman was that had stolen my dad away from me, and then it hit me. Now. My stepmother now. I couldn't just go knock on her door, though. What if she recognized me? I mean, surely my dad had mentioned me, right? But then, why hadn't I been invited to their wedding? I had so many questions, and I needed to find a way to befriend my new...
Yeah, don't just go to her door being like, yo, you know me? I'm your husband's daughter. I'm like 16, 15, 14. And I'm just here to say hi. Wasn't I invited to the wedding, you know? Just tell me why. Bro, she does not know about you. Easy fact. She does not know about you. Easy.
Wedding. I had so many questions, and I needed to find a way to befriend my new stepmother and get my answers back. Just ridiculous. But I had an idea. The next day was a Saturday, so I gathered up some cleaning supplies from my grandma's place and then dug in my old dresser box, where I found an old blonde wig. Then I took the bus over to Sarah's. Except I didn't go to Sarah's. I went to pay my new stepmother a little visit. I must have looked ridiculous, carrying a giant feather duster and wearing a blonde wig, but I didn't care. I had bigger things to think about. I marched right up to her door, trying to be as confident as possible. I knocked. She ran to the door and was dressed up all fancy. And then when she saw me, her face fell. Oh, I was expecting someone else. Sorry. I'm not interested in buying anything. Have a good day. She was about to close the door, but I said, wait! Then I told her I was from the local school, and we were doing some cleaning jobs to raise funds for a charity to help animals. I could tell she still wasn't interested. So I said, please, those animals need all the help they can get. She said, fine, but make it quick. I have plans today. As soon as I was inside, I started cleaning the photo of her and my dad, and she saw me staring and told me to hurry up. So then I headed upstairs and started cleaning. When I got to her bedroom, I spent longer there, even sneaking a peek inside her closet. What kind of woman had my dad fallen in love with? It looked like she had lots of fancy clothes. And then I saw something familiar. My mom's favorite dress. I thought I was going to be sick. What was it doing there? Without thinking, I took it and shoved it under my sweater. I hoped she wouldn't notice. But it was not okay that she had this. I tried to do the best job possible so that she'd invite me back. And to my complete surprise, she did. She saw that I'd actually done a good job cleaning. Thank you, Grandma, for teaching me well. And laughed and asked if I could come again 2 days later. I couldn't believe it. That was too easy. Of course, I gave her a fake name, and as I walked away, I almost laughed. I was officially my stepmother's housekeeper. Oh, this was good. I knew I'd reveal who I really was at some point. But I needed more time. What if she was hiding things from my dad? I mean, had my dad given her my mom's dress? I needed to find out. 2 days later, I was cleaning, and afterwards, she asked me if I wanted to stay for some tea and cake. She seemed kind of lonely, and for a second, I felt sorry for her. I mean, Dad was away a lot, so she must have been missing him, just like I was. That day, she asked me lots of questions about myself, and even complimented me on how pretty I was. Afterwards, I felt kind of guilty for lying to her. I mean, she actually seemed quite nice. I could see why my dad had fallen in love with her. But still, my dad had kept this hidden from me, and that wasn't okay. The following week, when I was cleaning, I heard a car pull up outside. I froze. Was Dad back already? I ran over to the window to take a look.
Can we take a moment and talk about that face? That expression. I don't know how she did that face. It's crazy. Like, whoa, is it my dad? Okay, that was a crazy face. Let's talk about that for a second. Your dad pulls up. The maid does not. Your stepmom does not recognize you. So how do you think your dad's gonna recognize you? No, he's not. But it says it's another man. Like the what? Okay, let's just continue this because I don't know anymore.
Suddenly, my stepmother shouted upstairs to me that she had a meeting now and would be in her study and that I wasn't to disturb her. I was very curious. So as soon as I heard her study door close, I crept downstairs and looked through the keyhole. They were sitting opposite each other, and it did look like a business meeting. But then my stepmother put her finger to her lips to say, shh, and pointed up towards the ceiling. And looked like a business meeting. But then my stepmother put her finger to her lips to say, shh, and pointed up towards the ceiling. And then the next second, she got up and went over and started kissing the man. I couldn't believe it. I almost gasped. I couldn't stop watching. And then the man pushed her away and said, babe, please, you gotta take those pictures of your husband down. I feel like he's watching us. It's creepy.
Oh. I forgot I was recording. So this guy literally comes and is like, take those pictures down. Yeah, take those pictures down. I don't want to see them. Put them down. Yeah, that's crazy, bro. Bro, that's crazy. You can't be like, okay, let's continue kissing. Bro, like you mentally ill or something, bro? Come on, bro. No.
Told him to ignore the pictures and said her husband was away so much he'd never find out anyway. Well, that's what she thought. I'd just seen and heard more than enough. If my dad knew what she was up to, he'd be heartbroken. I had to tell him. This was sickening. I ran back upstairs, and then the man left. I could feel my heart thumping in my chest. This was all too much. A few minutes later, I heard a phone ringing, and then my stepmother answered. It was clearly my dad on the line because she said, "Oh, I miss you too, baby. Please hurry home." I felt so angry hearing that. I picked up one of the perfume bottles in her room and threw it on the floor. It smashed and pieces flew everywhere. Of course, my stepmother came running upstairs, and that's when I realized she was on a video call. I threw myself under her bed, pretending to clean up the bits of broken glass. No way could my dad see me here. But then Janelle bent down and said, "Let me introduce you to my husband." But I just mumbled that I was cleaning up the glass and would meet him later. My God, if my dad saw me, he would freak out. I thought about not returning after I'd seen her having an affair. But I wanted to collect evidence for my dad. So over the next 2 weeks, I kept visiting and cleaning. And that man was there all the time. One night as I was leaving, I asked her who he was. And she blushed and said he was just an important client and that they were signing a business deal. Yeah, right, I thought. Then one day, just before my dad got back, I was at her house cleaning. I'd started to clean the toilet with her toothbrush after I'd caught her cheating, and it gave me so much pleasure to scrape the toilet bowl with it. It served her right. I was polishing the toilet seat with it, when suddenly I heard her running up the stairs. I quickly hid the toothbrush just in time because she came storming into the bathroom and started vomiting. I got such a fright and asked her if she was okay. Then I headed home. The next day, I decided I was going to quit. My dad was coming home, and I couldn't risk being caught by him. Plus, I was sick of being around her and her lies. I did one last clean for her because I also needed the cash. And as I was cleaning her bathroom, I noticed something in the trash. My jaw almost hit the floor. It was a pregnancy test, and it said 1 to 2 weeks on it. Oh my God. She was pregnant. I did the math and realized there was no way this could be my dad's baby. I was so shocked, I lost all track of time, and the next moment, I heard my dad's voice downstairs. I had to get out of there without him seeing me. I waited until he was in the kitchen, and then I ran as fast as I could down the stairs, out the door, and over to Sarah's. The worst part of it all was knowing that he came to see his wife before coming to see me. Did he love her more than me? I watched as they went out into the garden and started hugging, and I quickly took a photo of them. And then I saw her showing my dad the pregnancy test, and he looked happy. He picked her up and swung her around, and all I could think was how the baby was not his. Later that night, Dad came to pick me up at my grandma's and take me home. But I told him I was fine staying at grandma's and didn't want to come home. He could clearly see that something was up. And just before he left, I decided that was the moment. I showed him the photo I'd taken of him and my stepmother, and he almost dropped my phone in shock. He turned to me and said he could explain. And then he broke down and said he'd been wanting to tell me for so long, but he was afraid that I wouldn't be okay with it, and that he really loved this woman. He so badly wanted me to meet her. I didn't tell him I'd already met her because I had a plan. This week, my dad kept apologizing, and then he asked me if I'd be interested in meeting his wife that weekend. I told him I'd love to, and he seemed relieved. Then he said he'd chosen a special restaurant and promised that I'd love her as much as he did.
Calm down, bro. This guy, literally, all he could say was sorry. And once the girl literally said, yo, I'd love to, he does not think anything is wrong. Anything? So she just got over a week and it's just like, yo, I want to meet your wife. Yeah, I want to meet your wife, bro. Crazy, isn't it? Crazy. You get me? Crazy.
Closet and wore a pair of big sunglasses. Obviously, I didn't wear my blonde wig because I told him I'd love to, and he seemed relieved. Then he said he'd chosen a special restaurant and promised that I'd love her as much as he did. When the weekend rolled around, I put on my mom's dress, the one I'd stolen out of my stepmother's closet, and wore a pair of big sunglasses. Obviously, I didn't wear my blonde wig because I didn't want to give myself away. My dad told me to take my sunglasses off, but I refused, saying it was part of my outfit. And then he complimented me on the dress and said it looked as good on me as it had on my mom. So my stepmother had stolen the dress then. At first, things went well. She didn't recognize me and she was acting very sweet towards me. And then she said she and my dad had something to tell me, that I was going to be a big sister. I decided that was the perfect moment. I pulled off my sunglasses, reached into my bag and pulled out my wig and said, "Oh yeah? And is this baby definitely my dad's?" Well, you should have seen the look on her face. She literally screamed and pushed herself away from the table. Then she started pointing at me saying, "It's you? But you're my cleaner." Then she turned to my dad and started shouting at him, saying, "Did you set this up? Were you spying on me? Using your own daughter to keep an eye on me? And she even stole my dress." The whole time, my dad looked so confused. He clearly had no idea what was going on. So I told him everything, that the baby wasn't his, and that I'd seen his wife cheating on him over the past month. My dad was so furious, he grabbed my hand and we left the restaurant. As we stormed out, I turned to my evil stepmother and said, "By the way, I didn't steal your dress. You stole this dress from our house." My dad was so disgusted by the whole situation, and I thought he'd be angry. After all, I had pretended to be someone else just to get some info about my stepmother. But he was actually very grateful. He apologized to me about 1,000,000 times and said he'd been such a fool to fall for such a terrible woman. And of course, for lying to me about where he'd been and the fact that they'd gotten married. Well, now they're divorced. Thank God. As soon as the divorce was filed, my dad turned to me and jokingly said, "Next time I meet a woman for a date, I'm going to hire you as a spy to go and clean her house, okay?" At least my dad still had goodness for Sarah living so close. Otherwise, would we ever have discovered what a liar she was?
And guys, we've come to the end of the video, and thank you guys for watching. 10 subscribers has hit. Yes, 10 subscribers has hit. So another 10 could come soon, guys. So please like and subscribe, and check link in bio to watch my last video. Let's go.